Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. Our regular meeting agenda for May 16th here at 6 p.m. at our City Council chambers. If we can have roll call, please.
Yes, we'll have the minutes reflect that all the council members are present.
Thank you. Our invocation by Council Member Luke Hamby. Please rise.
Stand if you can. Bow our heads and pray. Dear God, I'm especially grateful to you tonight for your blessings, and thank you for this opportunity again to be here, gathered together with each person that's here. We ask that you would oversee our proceedings tonight, that you would give us wisdom, that you would help calm any storm that's coming to this city. We ask that you would just watch over us this evening, keep our residents and our staff and our employees safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. And our Pledge of Allegiance by Bill Smith.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the invocation and for the Pledge of Allegiance. The next item is the approval of the agenda, but I would like to make one minor change to item 5A. There is where it says this agreement is not for an amount not to exceed of $30,105. It should be $31,005. It was a $900 out-of-pocket expense that is included in that agreement, so I'll make that change. And I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with that change.
I'd also like to make the change to move 2C to before 2A.
That will be at the mayor's discretion. I will do that. Okay. So is there a motion? I've made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a second motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. So next item is public appearances and comments. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you. When you come to the microphone, please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Is there anyone here who would like to make a public comment on any item not appearing on the agenda? Please come up. Could you do me a favor? Pass these. Two each. Just one more.
Alrighty, good evening, members of the audience, members of the Brawley City Council. Guillermo Hernandez, field rep for Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia, here along with my colleague Kimberly Barraza. Today I'm pleased to provide you with an update on AB 918, Imperial Valley Healthcare District, and the related healthcare bills that Assemblymember Garcia has been actively working on. First and foremost, I'm pleased to share that AB 918 has made significant progress in the legislative process. It has successfully passed the first committee, local government. Currently, the bill is scheduled to be heard at the Appropriations Committee this week before advancing to the Senate. It is important to note that as AB 918 continues through the legislative process, the bill will undergo amendments to further refine and strengthen its provisions. Upon its passage, the bill will create a unified countywide healthcare district. It involves transferring the assets, rights, and responsibilities of PMHD and HMHD, Pioneers and Heffernan Memorial, to the new healthcare district. Additionally, AB 918 calls for the establishment of a seven-member interim board representing various stakeholders under the guidance of LAFCO. This board will work towards establishing voting zones for electing members of the board of directors. The bill also empowers the interim board to negotiate the transfer of assets from the city of El Centro, specifically the El Centro Regional Medical Center, into the new healthcare district. Furthermore, AB 918 mandates the board to determine a permanent funding source subject to approval by the voters through a ballot measure. As we actively engage with stakeholders and local elected officials in Imperial County, we anticipate further amendments to be made to AB 918 to ensure its effectiveness in addressing the healthcare needs of the community. It is essential to emphasize the legislature's comprehensive approach in addressing healthcare challenges throughout California. Assemblymember Garcia has been actively involved in addressing healthcare challenges through various bills. Senate Bill 112 establishes the Distress Hospital Loan Program, providing interest-free cash flow loans to financially distressed, non-for-profit public hospitals. AB 1131 creates the hospital's first revolving fund to offer grants and low-cost loans to hospitals in rural and underserved communities. AB 412 also establishes the Distress Hospital Loan Program, providing interest-free cash flow loans to hospitals in significant financial distress. AB 869 extends a deadline for hospitals to meet seismic safety standards and provide financial relief compliance. These legislative efforts highlight the state's involvement in systematically addressing healthcare issues and ensuring adequate reimbursement for hospitals. A request has been made for a one-time relief package of $1.5 billion to support California's hospitals in providing care to vulnerable communities. The package is proportionally dispersed based on Medi-Cal utilization, targeting hospitals that serve a greater number of Medi-Cal patients, like ours here. This relief package is a part of a comprehensive solution to address the structural underfunding in the Medi-Cal system and stabilize the state's healthcare system in the long term. It's worth noting that AB 112 was just signed yesterday by Governor Newsom. I'm also pleased to inform you that our office is also planning to host a roundtable discussion with city leaderships in the near future to discuss AB 918 and other important initiatives. Wrapping it up, we have been actively engaging with stakeholders and had productive conversations with Heffernan and Pioneers Memorial Healthcare recently. Moving forward, we would greatly appreciate the opportunity to meet with the council to delve deeper into these discussions and explore potential collaboration and solutions. As always, we're here to answer any questions and provide further clarification on AB 918. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We appreciate the information. Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment on any item not appearing on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on. We're going to go past, Chief Duran, we're going to go past your item. Oh, there is another comment, yes.
To the mayor, city council, city manager, and city attorney, my name is Carol Goss, and I'm here about the noise ordinance. I have attended the city council meeting. This is the 9th time, back to back, trying to get the loud music lowered for 10 p.m. The standard law for the state of California is 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., noise lowered. I have called the Brawley PD several times, only to be told that they can't do anything because the city council gave permission for the music to be played without any restriction on the noise level. The police cannot perform their duties with upholding the law. I am willing to work with the city council to resolve this problem so that it will be beneficial to each party involved. In my closing remarks, we have fair, humble, loving, and caring people on the council that will resolve problems that may arise in the city of Brawley. May God bless each of you for your hard work. Sincerely submitted, Carol Goss. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goss. All right, we're going to move on. If there isn't another public comment, we're going to move on to present item C before we do item B, Chief. If you don't mind, please, we're just going to move forward. And that next item is a proclamation in recognition of the annual Daniel Buga Hernandez Jr. Co-ed softball tournament. This was at a request of Councilmember Gil Revelar. I'll read the proclamation, and then I'll read portions of the proclamation. It's a rather long proclamation, but I'll read a portion of the proclamation, and we'll make that presentation. And so the proclamation in recognition of the annual Daniel Buga Hernandez Jr. Co-ed softball tournament, whereas Daniel Buga Hernandez Jr. was born on August 12, 1993, and raised in Brawley by his loving parents, Daniel Sr. and Rachel Hernandez, and whereas Buga was a loving and caring father alongside his partner Lulu to 3 children, Delena, Daniel Cito III, and Daslin, I believe. And, whereas Buga was loved by his family and friends and left all he interacted with at work and in life with good times and great memories, and whereas Buga had his life tragically cut short on May 30th, 2018, whereas many came together after his death to continue his memory and provide families and friends with even more good times and great memories in his honor, and establish a Daniel Buga Hernandez Jr. Co-ed softball tournament that held its first tournament in 2018 in the city of Brawley, whereas the Daniel Boga Hernandez Jr. Co-ed softball tournament has become a cherished tradition in our community and brings together friends, family, and neighbors to honor his life of Brawley's Boga. And whereas the tournament is a celebration of life, love, friendship, and a reminder of the importance of cherishing every moment we have with those we hold dear. So the tournament is a symbol of hope and healing, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the power of coming together in memory of a father, son, brother, and friend. And whereas the city of Brawley is grateful for the organizers and volunteers who make this event possible year after year, we thank all those who participate and support the Daniel Boga Hernandez Jr. Co-ed softball tournament. Your dedication and commitment to this event have helped create a lasting legacy in our community. So I am presenting, and I'll have Councilmember Revelar present this on the city's behalf. He did request the item, and I will sign it.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for coming. I attended the tournament 2 weeks ago, and it was a great time to see the Brawley community come together. And I was a few years older than Buga, and I don't think we interacted much. My friends knew him, but even today, I work in El Centro, and when they saw pictures, they saw this, they knew Buga. And I think it's a testament to someone who you don't have to be involved, you don't have to be a politician, you just be you. I remember seeing Buga, and he's a pretty quiet guy, and yet I think being authentic, being yourself, can still make an impact on people. And so, seeing the tournament and what you all do to remember him, I thought it was a really great thing, and I wanted to bring it forth and invite you, and show Brawley that everyone matters in Brawley, no matter what side you're born, raised, or at, or what happens. All of Brawley matters, and Buga matters, and your family matters. And yeah, I'd be more than happy. Love to present the family come up and present this to you all. But thank you for coming, and look forward to supporting the tournament in the future as well. Thank you.
Floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much. I don't take this lightly. It's a pleasure. I'd like to thank the mayor, all the council, and this really means a lot. We plan on keeping it going. We have a lot of support out there. I'd like to personally introduce Mr. Padilla. He's here because Adam couldn't make it. We have graduations tonight, and they're the ones that put it together. There's a lot of volunteers that work behind the scenes, and we just want to keep it going. As a legacy for my son, to show our love, not only because of him, but to all. That's what it's all about. And maybe like this, we could bring more harmony, unity, peace back into our city, because it's not just about Brawley, like you said. It consisted of the whole valley. It was a team from Coachella, that to come out and play.
Fantastic.
So we just like
Bringing
to keep
people
it going.
together, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's
absolutely.
what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, thank
Having
you.
good times, bringing the families out, and doing something positive
That's fantastic.
so it could impact the younger generation.
Thank you, Councilmember
Thank you
Revelar,
so
for bringing it.
much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again. And we'll move on. And thank you for your commitment to our community as well. We'll move on to the next presentation. That'll be Chief Duran. That'll be a presentation of Brawley Police Department Boxing Academy. Look at that.
I
there gonna be
brought some backup
Is
with
there
me
going to be a
today, Mayor.
demonstration, Chief, or no? Is there a demonstration?
Well, good evening, members of the council, city manager, city staff, and public. So today I'm excited because we're announcing a youth program, a much-needed youth program for that matter. We are announcing the Brawley Police Boxing Academy, and the logo is right behind you, Mayor. So that's the new logo that these kids are going to be working on and fighting for. So this is part of the motivation behind it was, of course, our city, our badge that represents our community, and we have
You're going to punch me in the face there, Mondo.
We have the gloves there hanging pretty much from City Hall, so I believe it's representative of everybody that lives in this great city. And not only, it doesn't stop there. So what I'm also announcing is a partnership with La Gente Boxing, which is an important part of what we're doing today. And not only that, we're also announcing our intent to partner with the Brawley Elementary School District with this boxing program as an after-school program, which is great. So we're still working on the agreement, but the school district has already approved our curriculum. We actually wrote the curriculum for for boxing. We explained what this is going to do for the kids. We cited, all the emotional needs that are going to be met through this program. Psychological things that are going to be helpful for them, and physical too, right? So we're hoping that we're going to be there pretty soon. And the next step is actually to partner up with our high school as well. We're already in conversations with the high school, so we're hoping to make the Brawley Police Boxing Academy an after-school program for both school districts. So I'm hoping that's going to happen. And in speaking with Pablo Cortez here, which I believe all you recognize who he is, we are also working on organizing our first joint boxing event. Hopefully we can do that soon. We're working on that already. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Pablo Cortez and to Agent Ralph Espinosa, who's going to be our boxing advisor on behalf of the Brawley Police Department.
Hello, City Council, City Mayor. For those of you not too familiar with the La Gente Boxing, it was established in 1991. We're celebrating our 32nd year anniversary this year. So that's a long time to be running a program that consists of volunteers only. And I'm proud to say that up to this day, we have 40 kids registered in our boxing program. And I think we have a waiting list of about 20. And this partnership, I think it's just going to be something positive, something we're really excited about. It's not going to change the way anything's we've operated. I think I've been working with Ralph 20 years when he came from Norwalk. Yeah.
Right.
So we go way back. It's gonna be one team, unity. Any decisions we make will go through both of us. It's not something that we're gonna clash or anything.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
And
But that's part of boxing, right? That's part of the clash.
Settle in the ring.
Right, you settle it in the ring. There you go.
And we really look forward to this. I think it's going to be a plus for all the kids. Between both programs, I think we're going to have 50, 60 kids that
That's
we're
awesome.
going to be providing a service for. Boxing program, it's something, not knocking any other sports, but we're a year-round program. We don't run for baseball season, football season. We're there for the kids year-round. Even during Christmas, the holidays, we're there. So I'm really excited about it. It was a good idea by the chief, and he spearheaded this program, and I just see positive things coming out of this.
Before you leave, I just want to thank you for your commitment, your dedication to the youth here. And so I know I've been in short spurts involved with you and seeing what you're working on, and I always appreciate that very much. And I know you're very dedicated. I love boxing, and Ralph knows it as well. And so I just appreciate what you're doing with the youth out there, and I think it's a very positive thing. I mean, we just heard from the organizers of a co-ed tournament that is helping bring the community together, and this is a great aspect of that as well. So congratulations to you and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right now I have probably like 30 kids maybe from Barbara work. So a couple of elementary kids, but there's a lot of interest. So it's like working around kids every day asking me, hey, can I join? So they're starting to behave because they know that we're not going to tolerate any fighting, bad grades. So they're starting to pick up their grades every day in the morning. Like, hey, guess what? I'm picking up my grade.
Good.
Okay, good. So, I mean, it's already showing. So,
Right.
I mean, I'll never stand anywhere and say, oh, I know, like with confidence. But one thing I do know is boxing. I'm 41 years old. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. So my first trainer was actually a world champion. My uncle, Gennaro, he passed away already. He was a world champion. So it's one thing I know, it's boxing. And then to take it a step further, I mean, one thing it does do, besides what the chief said, like the physical, mental, everything, what it does, what we've seen it, and Pablo will tell you, is that it reunites families. So I've seen couples that were separated because their kid is competing. Like they say in sports, winning solves everything. It's true. I've seen it get back together.
There you go.
Yeah. No, for real.
That's good.
They didn't talk. They didn't like each other. Divorce and nasty.
Right.
They start talking, and I've seen it time and time again. I mean, it's something about it. But eventually we'll get there.
Fantastic. Maybe you and I will get back together. Mayor Pro Tem Castro. Right?
I didn't know we had broken up.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, you've done so much work, and I always, when we went out to the gym, when we reopened it, after like COVID had been closed for so long, it's just great to see all these things happen the past few years, and seeing the kids involved. And I know I've had conversations with you with respect to like the behavior of the kids, and it's improving, and their grades are improving, so that's good. They have something to look forward to, and you bring up some good points that the sport brings people together. That is for sure. I love boxing. I love the atmosphere around it. I get together with my family and friends when we watch it, and it's always. I'm very supportive of the program. I love it, and I love the idea. I hope it goes very well and it's successful. So.
One thing, I want to make clear that, these kids are going to make mistakes. Maybe they will. But the kids are
sure.
Still developing, but they're going to be disciplined.
Well, congratulations.
I just want people to think, this kid, he's part of the boxing program, but we're there.
It will take time, but look at the leaders that they're looking up to, the leadership. And so you are mentors to these kids, and they respect you, and you're in uniform, and look, Pablo's got some big muscles, so they're gonna look at him and be like, yeah, they look up to you. That's the thing. That is the point. You're involved in the community, all of you, and it's something to thrive for and look up to. So I appreciate the effort that's being made.
I'll just say I want to say that we certainly appreciate everything you're doing. Saw Officer Espinosa the other day hanging out there at the junior high. I know the kids come by and hang out and they talk to you. They like being around you, so they admire everything that you're doing. And then obviously Mr. Cortez, see him every single day. He's my neighbor, by the way. So,
okay, all right. Well,
but I'm just saying he's active, and he doesn't live right next door. He's like, I don't know, two blocks down, but
right.
Every single day he's out there doing something. So commend you guys for the work that you do, and obviously you guys already know this 32 years, how many generations you've affected, and a great change, and that's generational, right? It continues. You change one generation, generations continue to change after that. So thank you so much for your work.
And I should mention that after 6 years of not having an officer over at the school district, right? You're now back there and working with these kids, and I'm hoping that it makes a massive impact in their lives too. So I think it will, absolutely.
Hasn't been easy.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, you look a little stressed out.
Yeah, right. I know you. I didn't want to mention that, but but you did. So there we go. Well, thank you. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you, Chief.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh no, thank you. Cortez, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good job, Papa. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, who made the second?
I did.
That was council member. All right, the next item on the agenda is the number 4, city manager report. City manager report.
Sorry, excuse me, Mayor. Mondo, if you could bring up that one there. Thank you.
And we have an audience out there,
Did they bring a mariachi?
That's for you.
Yeah, that's for me.
There you go.
You didn't tell us it was your
That's
birthday,
your entrance
Tyler.
music? Is that what it is? Yeah, that's his boxing entrance music. Is that what it is?
That's a good song, though. Great choice.
All right, I'll try to talk over. Okay, so the first announcement is Mondo and his one-man army, 2 of them together, have put together. We've gotten out of the horse and buggy era, and we've gotten a brand new.
It's hard to hear. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Maybe they're. Is that in here? Is that Luke's?
All right, Chief, might need a little help.
Is that Luke's ringtone? Is
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Takes how many police officers are going to take?
Right, to turn down the volume.
Boy, that is loud.
They're loud.
All right, so let's go.
Okay.
It's a good song.
All right, so I'll start all over. Armando and William 19 has been implementing over the last month or so a new phone system. Got us out of the horse and buggy era. And with that, we have a brand new phone number for the city. And Armando was having a tough time finding a number that I could remember. So he came up with, here's our new number, 344-2222. And from that, you can reach any department within the agency. So thank you, Armando and team, for that. That's a great addition to our continuing efforts to be providing the best customer service that we can. Next slide, please.
So going back to that, a little bit more explanation. We were operating on a system that was essentially like 70 years old. And so when you needed to be transferred to another department, you had to pick up the phone and call somebody and then say, hey, look, can you call this number? And so that's no longer the case. You dial that main number and then you're transferred. So we have a system that was going to save us money, but it wasn't easy to implement. And so it requires a lot of training. And so now from one operator, you're able to be transferred to anyone within the city. So it's a lot of improvement in the way we deliver service to the clients and to the residents here. So that's really important. I want to make sure that people understand.
Yes, sir. Next slide, please. Okay, next we have upcoming workshop dates. If you remember the last meeting, our staff augmentation consultants were here giving a little briefing on the old water treatment plant and potential redevelopments. Ideas that could go in there. So we've nailed down 2 meeting dates. One is Tuesday, May 30th at the Stockman's Club, and the next one would be Wednesday, June 14th at Lion Center here in our facility over there on A Street. Both start at 5:30, and we're looking to get all the community into either one of these meetings or both to offer their input on what they would like to see there, and we're anxious to hear your ideas.
And so just so everybody understands what that is, decommissioned water treatment plant. That's the water plant that's behind 7-Eleven on Main Street. That how many acres is that?
It's about almost 12.
Almost 12 acres. And so we're having meetings to see what we can do with that land. There's a developer that's interested, or not a developer, but there's a company that's working with us to see what we can place there, whether that's commercial properties like retail stores or maybe some living space. So that's what those meetings are for. So we want to get public input to see what best goes in that location.
Thank you. Next, please. And announcement for the Friends of the Library book sale, May 20th, 9:30 to 12 p.m. Please come out and purchase some books. It's usually a pretty good event with a lot of activity.
I don't think Chief was that successful out there. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, anyway.
Well, maybe it is Chief actually playing the music. Who knows?
It's allowable. It's allowable.
There's no noise ordinance.
He said it.
Did you have fun there, Chief? Oh, yeah. I thought maybe that was your ringtone or something. No, it wasn't. Yeah, right. You checked your phone?
It's all good. It's all good.
All right, thank you.
So this Saturday, come on by the library and pick up some books that are relatively inexpensive. And next we have, I just wanted to announce, remind, inform the public that on Thursday, June 1st at the Stockman's Club again, the newly formed Brawley Police Foundation nonprofit is having a meet and greet there, and they are inviting all the public to come down and to see what that all entails. Chief, I don't know if you have anything more to add to that, or real briefly.
No, that's just the launch for the Brawley Police Foundation. As some of you might have heard, it was created just to help us out in some of the needs that we have. That sometimes, given our budget, we're not able to meet the needs of the police department, or certain things such as training, such as welfare of the officers, such as our K-9 program. And as a matter of fact, if you don't know, a lot of people in the community have already helped us without even having the foundation with our K-9 program. I think last year we ended up getting about $35,000 in help from the community, and because they know that we have a need And if you don't know, we have 2 canines now that are operating full-time here with the police department after not having a canine for about 10 years. So the Police Foundation is definitely going to help to meet some of the needs that the police department can't, or we can't do it through our budget. So,
Thank you, Chief. And lastly, I believe, want to congratulate Rachel and her staff for a great event last Friday, movie night at the Splash Pad. I think they had about 80 or so folks out there, well attended. And also to our sponsors that provided snacks and school supplies, succeeding over at Varsity IBC Club and Los Amigos de la Comunidad. Again, this was after hours, so Rachel and her staff work all day long and then have to go down on a Friday night and provide a great event for the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to go into regular business, and item 5A, we had that correction made there. It was discussion potential action to approve professional services agreement with consulting firm DTA to conduct cost of service rate study for residential and commercial organic waste processing services. This agreement is for an amount not to exceed $31,005, presented by Thomas Garcia, Assistant to the City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Yes, Thomas Garcia with the City Manager's Office. Again, we're here for you for this service agreement with DTA. This is in reference to the organic waste processing and handling. As you know, the regulations changed on that, and they have to be handled differently. And this just coincides with that to do a rate fee study, on the cost of what it's costing to perform those tasks. I'm sure you're all familiar with DTA, as Brawley's had a long history with them. They've done a lot of work for them, at least going back to 2010 from the records and contracts I've seen since I've been here. They've proven reliable and do good work, and I think their knowledge of the history and our processes here at the city will help make this a really good, successful fee study. So we're looking forward to that. We do have a representative standing by. If you guys have any further questions or questions that I may be able to answer.
So this relates, if I may add a little more detail, to the unfunded mandate, SB 1383. It relates to organic waste fees. Fees are going to increase from Republic based having to process and pick up, and I don't even know the technical terms for making the compost. So with that, the city attorney and the former finance director, Carla Romero, and I have discussed this over and over, and it is our opinion that a Prop 218 study is needed to be able to come up with what it's actually costing for this unfunded mandate. DTA is a consultant of ours. I worked closely with them as the finance director when I was the finance director for CFD's reporting on an annual basis. We did send this RFP out to, I think, 7 to 10 firms for responses, and DTA was the lone response to the positive. Others that said they were busy, thank you for it, and others weren't available. So with that.
Is there a motion to approve the item?
Also moved.
There's a motion.
Oh, second.
And a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, next item is review, discussion, adopt resolution number 2023- the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, to incorporate a list of projects funded by SB1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act, presented by Ron Medina, Director of Public Works, Operations, and Maintenance. That's a big title there, my friend. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, and members of the public. Yeah, this action item is in front of you. And some background information on here. In 2017, the governor signed into Bill SB1, which is also known as the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017. Since that time, the City of Brawley has been receiving these funds under the road maintenance and rehabilitation projects. Today, your consideration of selecting that street section for these improvements under the Road Rehabilitation and Recovery Act. And that street is Best Road from Main Street to Ganado Avenue, or Ganado Drive. And the estimated amount is $584,541, and that would be for the fiscal year 2023-24. Any questions?
Are there any questions on this item? Any motion to approve?
I have been out on that little section of road, so yeah, I'm sure like many roads will be much needed. That makes sense, and it looks like there's just some matching funds from our Measure D fund. Is that correct?
Right. There'll be actually, this is just a portion of the total project, and I'll read that for you for the public's information. Under SB1, there'll be $533,000, and these are estimated totals right now. And then from Measure D, there'll be $41,760, and then also from 213 bicycle and pedestrian funds, there'll be $66,862 for a total of $735,487.22 at this point. If there are any other funds that become available for this project, of course, that will be forthcoming to the council for your approval.
All right. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is by Director of Public Works, Operations and Maintenance, Mr. Ron Medina as well. It's to review, discuss, and consider awarding contract to Hazard Construction Company for project specification number 2020-05 K Street Improvement Project from Highway 86 to 8th Street. Project amount of $668,624.75. And authorized, if needed, 10% contingency of $66,862.47 for a total amount of $735,487.22. Also authorize the city manager to execute all documentation concerning this project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, and members of the public. Yeah, this project went out to bid, and as you expressed, the city received 3 bids. And the lowest responsive bidder is Hazard Construction Engineering, who we are proposing you to award the project to.
All right.
And tonight's action will actually award the project, and the notice of award will be sent to the contractor. It is anticipated it would take 30 to 45 days to start the construction. And we certainly don't want to start the construction while school is in operation on K Street. So hopefully this will start right when school finishes.
Okay.
So I know it's quick discussion.
Yes, please.
So I know it's what, $9,000 difference, $10,000. Do you put any weight though on local contracting? Just I know it says Lakeside and the others. We have one from El Centro. Is there any weight given to a local? And if so,
yes,
how much?
thank you for asking that question. And I did check into that. I was not part of the RFP process. This was already in play prior to my employment. I did ask in the local, there is a section on your staff report down at the bottom. The local bidding preference factor is not shown as it does not apply to the federal funded projects.
Understood. All right. Is there a motion to approve the item?
I'll motion to approve the item.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. There's a motion and there's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, the next item is discussion potential action to adopt resolution 2023 awarding contract to California Commercial Pools, Inc. and delegating authority to the city manager to sign the same for project number 2023-01 Line Center Pool Rehabilitation Project presented by Rachel Fonseca, Parks and Recreation Manager.
Good evening, members of the council. Rachel Fonseca, Parks and Recreation Manager. So Public Works advertised the bid for the Lion Center Pool Rehabilitation Project in January, and in February the city received a single bid. The single bid was from California Commercial Pools in the amount of $638,000. Since there was only one bid that was received, staff had to request a single bid approval from CDBG to be able to award the contract. CDBG reviewed the request and they approved the award. However, they provided for one contingency, that the contractor must provide a proof that they are not debarred from working on federal projects, and the contractor is already in the final process of obtaining proof that they are not debarred. Staff is requesting council's adoption of the resolution granting the award, and I'm not sure if the contractor, but I know the construction manager, Erica Ponte, is on Zoom for any questions that council may have.
All right, thank you. Any consideration from council to entertain questions, or is there a motion to approve the item?
I just have a quick question. What is the timeline on this project?
August, the middle of August, and about 60 days from
You might have mentioned it, but I missed it. I was reading the back on the street. I'm sorry.
August,
Okay.
I believe close to August 15th. That'll allow us to have our recreation programs for the summer, and then it'll be 60 days from that date.
Gotcha. Thank you. I apologize for that.
Any comments?
Maybe just before a motion, the comment, long time coming. I know it's been reported on and discussed many times. I don't know how long, but Rachel, thank you very much to you again and the staff for staying consistent, persistent, and getting it to this point right here. So looking forward to it.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the item?
So move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Hey, we need to
Any
start
opposed?
sounding off. We sound like we're not sure what we're doing.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next one, item is 5E, discussion potential action to amend the 2022-2023 capital improvement plan, CIP, to include the Ouster Road Shade Project presented by Rachel Fonseca, Parks and Recreation Manager.
Good evening, members of the council. Rachel Fonseca, Parks and Recreation Manager. So staff has received several requests to install the shade at Alistair Row Park to provide shade and protection from the sun for the children who use the splash pad in the summer. And City Council had approved the budget allocation, but the project was inadvertently left off of the capital improvement plan. And the absence of the project from the capital improvement plan is preventing the project from moving forward to the bidding stage. So staff is requesting the council's approval to add the project to the capital improvement plan so that the department can move forward with the bidding process.
I may add just a little bit additional information on this. In last year's CIP, there was a placeholder of approximately $300,000 for Parks and Recs to decide what CIP projects, and now there's a specific project, one of that she has some others coming, but this one, 98,000 of that will be used of that 300,000. So it was budgeted for, but it wasn't a specific line item.
Very well. All right, is there a motion to approve the item?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve item 5E.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, the motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is presented by Mayor Pro Tempore Ramon Castro from the Brawley City Council. Discussion regarding requirements and best practices for community public events. Mayor
Yes.
Pro Tem Castro.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. There's no actual presentation, just a discussion on this item. It has come to my attention after discussing with the folks who organize the events here at our downtown area, the Plaza area, the Taco Fest, Cesar Chavez celebration, and others, and then the issues that are happening around the beer garden. Other cities have allowed folks to buy a beer and walk around downtown and enjoy the festivities. We have decided to establish a rule now where a beer garden is set up, but that doesn't seem to be working out. And according to the event organizers, their losses have been pretty, they're large. And so I know that the Cinco de Mayo or the Taco Fest, which was moved to a Friday, should have made a lot more as far in revenue from the beer sales. Was Thursday, I believe? It was from like Thursday to a Friday, and their losses were like pretty significant. And so, according to our city ordinance, if the city council, if the event organizer requests and the city council approves, we can set up a different guidelines for the consumption of alcohol on public.
We've had it open before, just so you know. I mean, we've had it open to where it's an event and there is a free flow to where you can walk around and you're not confined, you know. The limitations are the confined area, which are the event area. So I'm a proponent of that process as well, just because, in my own opinion, I think when you create a beer garden, it creates a beer garden, you know, and so it creates a bar, you know, and when you have an open area. People can go enjoy it with their family members. They don't have to necessarily drink in that location. But we have, just for clarity, we have had that process while I've been on council, and it seemed to work. It was. I should also mention it's been many years since we've had events because we've had COVID, and so a lot of public events didn't take place. And and people change, and there's new faces, and it's just different. But
and I did read the ordinance, and the ordinance clearly states that they can do that as long as council gives permission, right?
Right. That's what we've done in the past. Yeah.
And so I think a couple of the event organizers are here if they want to speak on that. No. Nobody?
Not everybody at once, right?
Not everybody at once, sir.
I had to write some notes.
There we go.
Good evening, council members. My name is Ramiro Urias. I'm CEO for the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Brawley. And with me is Christine Perez, which is our board president. As our community events, such as cattle call events, our Christmas event, which we partner with the city of Brawley the last couple of years, and our Imperial Valley Taco Festival continue to see growth in attendance every year. Our chamber has done its due diligence to ensure that the number one priority is public safety. I think we can all agree that over profit, it's public safety. We want to make sure everybody's out there safe. We can probably say that our events have never seen any major incidents or accidents the last 25 years from what we were able to.
Except for you passing out last year.
Yeah, I did get dehydrated last year at our taco festival, but not due to alcohol.
Heat exhausting.
As we have, the last couple of years, we've actually doubled our security. We've actually prepared emergency preparedness plans. We've worked really closely with fire department, city staff, Rachel, Chief Duran and his staff. We've worked with evacuation plans. So I feel that the chamber has done an adequate job of making sure that these events go, without any major incidents. I also want to say that our chamber has continuously followed, the alcohol and beverage control requirements regarding alcohol. We do make sure that all our volunteers are TIPS certified. And for those that don't know, TIPS certified is pretty much just a program designed to ensure that, our volunteers know, when to stop serving people, to ensure that we're not, we're preventing, drunk drivers, underage drinking, intoxication. So I think, what we're pretty much just trying to say is we want to continue to make sure that we have these events. And I think the last couple of years, we've had, really successful events without major incidents. And, recently after the State of the City, I talked to Chief Duran about it. And, maybe the way it was implemented this time was, one extreme, but we know that we can find the middle ground where we're making sure that everybody's safe and everybody enjoys the event. It's a community event. And then people leave happy, and safely back home without any major incidents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council and mayor. Thank you. We just want to be able to know that we can work with you guys as far as the city and the council, and of course with Chief Duran and all the other law enforcement officers that are out there, as well as the security team. We beefed up our security much more this time, and as Pro Tem Ramon mentioned, we did lose a lot of revenue from being corralled, if you will, in that spot. There were quite a few upset people, but hopefully we'll be able to get past this and be able to open it up like it has been for many, many years, and definitely we'll work with the local law enforcement and making sure that the security is there and available for all those in attendance. We haven't had any major issues. I think this year there was a couple of girls from Barbara Worth that had a little wrestling match, if you will. But other than that, we haven't had anything major. And as Ramiro mentioned, we are TIPS certified. There's probably about 10 of us on the volunteer team that do go to those classes and get certified every 3 years. So just know that we're there to work with you guys to make these events bigger and better for our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as Mayor Nava pointed out, we don't come to these events. I enjoy a few beers every time. But we don't come to these events to get hammered at the beer garden. We come to enjoy the festivities. and
I
if
do,
possible,
but
enjoy
I
a couple. I'm gonna say I haven't done it before, but
There's a reason why we're tip certified.
Right, that's right.
and so you walk around up and down and enjoy a couple of beers. No problem with that. Obviously, we understand the concern. Obviously, our police department has to enforce the rules, but like you said, I'm sure there's a middle ground, and I'm glad that we were able to bring this up today. Thank you to Mayor Nava for allowing it onto the agenda, and our city manager for obviously working with us on that. Because we want to make sure that we come to a consensus, that we can work something out and we can continue to enjoy these events. And obviously, I don't want to. I mean, I'm not going to be corralled in the corner drinking a beer. I'm just not going to go, and that's how you lose revenue. So, thank you.
Couple questions. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
We talked security. So, how much did you increase the security?
So last year we had about 18 security guards. This year we had about 29.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. And I guess percentage-wise, how much did you see a decrease?
About 60%.
60%. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just. So this, I guess, this whole discussion is to change ordinance, or is this
No,
to change?
it's already, it's within our discretion. It's just we haven't, there haven't been a lot of public events since the return, after COVID. So it's a little bit of a learning curve for everybody too. It's just, readjusting to things. But I think it's just for our consideration in the future. I would like to hear from our chief as well here tonight. We have him, and I think Eric Reyes is here as well, and he can maybe share their perspective. These are two groups that have put on multiple events throughout the years. So.
Mr. Mayor, before, if they come up, all I was just going to mention, and I think one other thing that came up a meeting or two ago is just our existing brick and mortar businesses that are downtown, and just the communication I know that is to come from the city, but as well as the chamber, that there's some coordination. I think that's where one of the beer garden concepts came up, to sort of keep it away so we're not setting up like a mobile bar right in front of an established business. So that coordination, however that works.
Well, I think the bar will still be set up where it has been. It's not. It's not that. That's where we've had it, or that's where it's been. But then the drinking is allowed through the
free roaming.
You're free roaming within
the location.
So I believe that under our maps that we create, it is listed as a beer garden, and it's sectioned off at a corner next to the library. But under ABC metric, it's more of a pouring station because we're allowed to drink. People can walk around, and that's more of a pouring station where we limit, underage, or kids being in that area as a pouring station, but they're free to walk. But like I said, I've had a few conversations with Tyler as well as Chief Duran, and we agree that we want to make sure that people are safe, but also making sure that the events can continue to grow as they have. And most importantly, I just want to thank all city staff, PD, fire, public works, Parks and Rec. Everybody. I think at the end of the day, everybody sees the chamber out there and our volunteers, but the city does so much to make sure that these events are possible. And we want to make sure that people come out to these events and forget about the stress of work and everyday life, and just enjoy these events for a couple of hours. So thank you to all you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, Mr. Reyes, did you have a comment that you wanted to express? We can hear from Chief.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what you said. The revenue drop-off was drastic, right? So we put on this event free. We get our generous sponsors, which some of you have sponsored, and then we put it back out to the community. So there isn't much of a profit margin. So we try to make some type of more revenue at this at the beverage center there. And one, I think it takes away from the event itself. Whereas we're corralled, as you said, now we can't trust our people to have a beer and have a good time. Two, it really hinders the enjoyment of the event as it goes on. My event is an all-day deal, so it's different. One crowd comes in, leaves, another crowd comes and sits to enjoy, and they're sitting there with nothing, so they all comment on that. Nobody was upset besides me, right? But I'm saying it takes away from the total enjoyment of the event as well. I've been doing events for over 30 years. Cesar Chavez itself with Brawley for 17 years. I've had one incident which happened last year, unfortunately, and not do with alcohol, more of a long-standing rivalry between some people from Brawley's East Side, which happens, right? I've been part of that myself. Right? I still have rivalries, long-standing rivalries.
You do. You have many. Several. Some publicized even, you know what I mean?
You know, so I want to apologize to the PD for my harsh words because I felt I was being signaled out because it was the first event where they were going to do it. They had not done it for the any previous event, and they even had one at the start of the year, I think, barbecue brisket cook-off. So my event was the first one. So when you did it for the next event, I see that it's part of their policy moving forward. Something maybe it's good that we're discussing it. So I apologize for the harsh words. Heat of the moment, it happens. I don't want that to take it away from what we're doing here today, the discussion. So yeah, families should be able to go. I'm going to say something also. They keep bringing up while we're trying to prevent young people from drinking that are underage. I'll tell you what, this made it a lot easier for them to underage drink. It's a lot. They're not going to be underage drinking. No one's going to be buying them $7, $8 drinks, right? But they're going to go to 12-pack or at the store and bring it to the park for $15, $20, which we saw in a tremendous upswing of cans and bottles that some of the homeless people took great advantage of the next day when I went back the next morning. Bags everywhere because people were bringing in their alcohol, you know, because that's what basically people who want to enjoy alcohol, they're going to drink. So, yeah, so right in front of our beer garden, you know, guys were drinking because they didn't want to sit in there. They were sitting out there.
Right.
So they were doing it discreetly. You know, that's just part of it, right? Done that before myself, right? So I'm glad this ordinance is able to be brought to you in the future, right? That's how it's going to go. And hopefully we can all sit together and make this work for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, would you like to express your viewpoint, please?
Yes, first of all, I would like to say that we do have a great partnership with Chamber of Commerce, and they've been awesome at working with us. And I would like to echo some of what you said. You did say we have not had events, you know, for quite a while since COVID happened. And I got here when COVID was occurring.
Right.
A lot of the new officers that we have currently now came right around that time or shortly after me.
There's new faces.
So we are adjusting to the community. But one of the things that I want to mention, that it's all about keeping the community safe. And sometimes you have to time the boats, and then you got to loosen them. And that's part of the process. You know, because in some other events, we have seen some DUIs, and that's what we're hoping that to prevent. As you know, that's one of the main reasons where we're trying to be out there, you know, to ensure that that doesn't occur, or maybe even fights, because sometimes we don't get some documented fights, but we have some other fights that happen that, you know, by the time we get there, I mean, we can't document it because they're done and over. So there's, you know, several things like that happening. But I think with the amount of officers that we are putting in the events now, coupled with the increase in security guards, I think we can do a better job. And like what Ramiro said from the chamber, I believe we can come up with a happy medium where we can, you know, ensure that our community keeps thriving. And I love these events, by the way. I think they're great. I mean, I came to both and just saw them. There was a lot of people. And that's always my concern. I see a lot of people, and I want to make sure they're safe. I want to make sure that everybody goes home safe. And I want the people who have families to also want to come.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, there's a bunch of drunks walking around the street." You know, because that could very well happen if we're not careful. So we got to really regulate what is happening. But I think we can do it, you know, in partnership with the council, with Mr. Reyes and everybody else that does an event. So we're actually working on some. I don't want to say rules, but a process for events that I think will make everything clear and will get us talking before the event. I think that's what happens a lot of times. We don't have a set process for the city. So we actually took the liberty to work with the city manager on it, and we're almost there. We took input from Parks and Recs, from our fire department, from everybody to ensure that we can come up with a good solution for this type of events that we're doing. So maybe that would open more communication, and hopefully we can solve some of these
Chief, I
issues.
think that's fantastic. And, you know, I've been on council for a long time, 16 years, going on 17 years. And I know over the course of time, we've had many events, you know, many have gone very successfully, you know, with people enjoying themselves. And I know, and I stated it earlier, but, you know, there is a new batch of faces within our leadership, you know, and so these are things that are new to everybody. And so, as you mentioned, Chief, sometimes you got to tighten things down. Sometimes you loosen them a little bit. But it's a great conversation that I think is had here tonight, in that there seems to be openness and a willingness to be open. And then there's increased security with the chamber. And then Mr. Ayers, I do appreciate the fact that you did apologize. You know, you're always a man of your word, and I always appreciate you very much, even though, you know, sometimes we're very passionate people, you know what I mean? So, but
That's one of those rivalries.
And yeah, with some publicized rivalries, even in the paper, you know. But no, he's actually gotten in the ring before with a rival. You know, I've seen him box. You know, so. But yeah, so no, I appreciate it and everybody's willingness to listen. So thank you very much, Chief. I hope that there's a happy medium here, and at the very least, let's give it a shot to see how things function and what's, you know, and evaluate, you know, as a
yes,
city.
and we definitely got to evaluate every incident. Not all incidents or situations are the same. Not all events are the same, and that's where it comes to planning. You know, we got to sit together and plan these events.
And
again, we do need that process.
Yeah, I appreciate the process, and because whether we're here or not, that there is a process in place that can be followed. Because quite honestly, there was, you know, leadership has changed, and for so many years, it was sort of unwritten policies.
Yes.
Right, and so one person did it this way for so long, it became normal, and then when they're gone, it's no longer normal, and things are different. So a written policy, I think, is very important. So thank you, Chief. No problem. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Castro, for bringing this forward.
Thank you. Appreciate the
So,
attention given to this matter.
All right, thank you. The next item is discussion and direction to staff on potential dates for the Brawley City Council special meetings. The purpose of these meetings will be for the fiscal year 23-24 budget discussion. This is presented by our city manager, Tyler Salcido.
Thank you, Mayor. As you're well aware, that we've had some staffing issues in finance, and the whole staff over there is doing a hell of a job. Heck of a job.
You can say hell of a job.
Getting me? Okay. Hell of a job then. Getting everything done, getting the day-to-day stuff going, but it is time that we really concentrate on the budget between now and the end of June. In the past, we've had about 5 meetings that started earlier in the fiscal year. What we are proposing is to have one special meeting and then condensed, just concentrating on the budget, and then 2 regular meetings, the 6th and the 20th, with hopefully a final adoption on the 20th. At reviewing our staff and my calendars, staff has proposed Wednesday, May 31st for a special meeting for the first round of budget talks, public hearing. And unless there's a special emergency item, we would just limit it to budget, to the budget process. If that fits with the council's calendar. If not, we'll try to work another date.
I did receive your email earlier, and I'm open to that. I don't know what the rest of the council is, and you know, I think we just need to get these things done.
It's at your discretion what time. We could keep it the normal 6 o'clock time if that's what council prefers.
By me.
That works for me. Okay.
Thank you.
We have our direction. Thank you.
All right. The next item on the agenda is an informational report, a monthly staffing report. And then the next item is a study session, presentation of Real-Time Crime Center, presented by Chief Duran, Chief of Police Jimmy Duran. Chief, maybe you should just stay here. You know, you've been here all day.
Well, once again, good evening, members of the council, city manager, city staff, and public. So today I want to take the time to present to you and our residents a plan to establish a real-time crime center in our city. I'm hoping that after today's presentation, we will receive your approval and you will decide to move forward in this direction, because I think it's important. As you know, as most cities and throughout the state, actually in our nation, we are short on officers. We don't have enough officers due to budget constraints, due to recruitment and retention, so many things that happen, right? But I believe that today's technology does make a difference, because we've been implementing a lot of technology that we didn't have before. And now that technology that we're going to talk about today, I know can make a difference to allow us to do more with less. I believe that this technology is going to take us to that level of establishing that real-time crime center in our city. This is not a new concept. It's been very effective in many cities, especially the bigger cities. And if you don't know what a real-time crime center, this is technology. It's like a hub. The easiest way that I guess I can describe it is a hub of technology that combines numerous sources of data to provide us, law enforcement officers, with the much needed intelligence to be able to identify crime patterns, to prevent crime, and also to solve crimes. And part of what this is something that I just didn't start working on it like a week or something. I've been actually thinking about this for about a year now. So we've been looking at different types of platforms, software, hardware, and also probing with the community members, like the business owners. And everybody that I talk to, and I kind of tell them the concept, they've been pretty receptive. They all express interest in this new, what I call new crime fighting technology. I talked to the schools about it, both districts. I even talked to the Chamber of Commerce, where Ramiro just left. I talked to him. I talked to just several people in the community, and everybody seems to be in agreement that this is something that will work for our city. I talked to one of our local bank managers just last week about it, and he definitely thought it was a good idea. And with that said, I would like to invite our expert for tonight. The system is called Fuses. And this is Jim Macedo, and he's going to definitely talk more about this system because he definitely is more knowledgeable than I am on this matter.
All right.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for the time. I'm going to just run you through a pretty brief PowerPoint that is an overview of what it is our company does. Just a little bit of context about myself. I'm a retired sheriff from Central California. Just retired in October, so this is all very fresh to me. As a matter of fact, the first time I saw this, I was still on the job, and I said "holy," and I'll leave out what I finished with. But this is a pretty
22 years old. How did you retire so
I wish I was that young, sir. I wish. So just a real brief PowerPoint. This is our unified public safety ecosystem, and I'm going to quote a mayor because he said it very well. This is the neighborhood watch of the 21st century, and that's not a law enforcement person's quote. That's not a person who worked for this company. This is a mayor, one of our customers. So we're the most widely used and trusted real-time collaboration and information system platform in U.S. law enforcement. You're going to see some big cities up there. However, we are very effective with smaller agencies. Atlanta PD, Minneapolis PD, foundational customers of ours for a long period of time. However, up in the Central Valley, the city of Oakdale has about 20 officers, and they use our system very, very effectively. Because what we've done is we've scaled this system down and put it in the hands of the end users, meaning the officers on the street and the detectives. It's not up on a large screen in a controlled center with a bunch of analysts. We've really scaled it down and put it in the hands of the end users. So it's a cloud-based software system, and we ingest all of your existing data sources. What does that mean? That means you don't have to rip out your existing cameras, your existing license plate readers, whatever data sources, your CAD, your computer-aided dispatch system that your police department already has. We ingest all of that, operationalize it, put it on a single pane of glass, so you're not having to constantly maintain multiple passwords, logging in, logging out. We put it all on a single pane of glass, and one way to visualize this would be as though you were in necessarily a helicopter or overhead, and you can kind of overlook everything that's going on, and you can select and choose a variety of data sources that you already have to help you either solve crimes, locate missing persons, generate leads, or in a lot of ways we communicate back and forth with your local community. So the chief mentioned the hub, and that black dot is us. So we can ingest live video feeds real time from aircrafts, drones, both city transit cameras, private camera feeds. And the chief asked me to spend some time with you about that, so I'm gonna circle back to that in a moment. We can live stream body camera, in-car camera, ambulance cameras. We can set up panic alerts. As I mentioned before, you guys already have license plate readers. We can ingest those. And just as an example, if the city decided to change to a different vendor, whether it was the body camera, the license plate reader, the city cameras, that is not a negative effect on us. We just continue to ingest the resources that you have. We don't try to control that. One of our companies, it sounds a little cliche, but one of our company's mottos is smashing silos. We really don't want to compete with those other companies. We just want to ingest their data and make it a whole lot better. Gunshot detection, again, that will activate cameras. Calls for service activate cameras in the area. I want to talk about AI, artificial intelligence, because there's always some concern about that. Our company does not do facial recognition. We do not do facial analytics. I'll probably repeat that a little bit later. We also provide motion and access control. Down on the bottom left, when facing the camera, we'll provide the PD with a multimedia full phone number tip line, where somebody could send either text tips or video or still shot photos into the police department. We have a very sophisticated emergency mass notification system that is very effective in schools, where the police department, if they had access to the school's cameras, could watch what's happening in real time if there was a threat. And I'll be very specific about the benefit of that. That app-based system may allow your police department or your schools to get locked down before an intruder penetrates that interior perimeter, or visually locate that intruder, and perhaps if that intruder's at the front of the school, move the kids out of the back of the school. Again, this is real-time on-the-edge video. Our evidence vault and digital evidence collection speeds up the time it takes your detectives and patrol staff to gather evidence and get it, or gather video-related evidence and get it into a package for the district attorney. And then we do a full overlay of the entire map of your city, floor by floor, and we register those cameras onto the map, floor by floor. Again, put it in the hands of your officers so they can watch what's happening real time. Some of the other tools on the right, again, I mentioned we will ingest your current computer-aided dispatch system, the mapping, communicate with fire, your city roads department, ambulance companies. This is, again, not just a crime platform. It's really more of a comprehensive information and operations platform. So this is a quick video. Play this, and it's just kind of a short overview about what we do. Hopefully we have audio.
Welcome to Fusus, the industry's first cloud-based, rapidly deployable, real-time crime center. Fusus integrates all major public safety technology investments into a single pane of glass, synthesizing real-time intelligence to enhance first responders' situational awareness and decision-making capabilities. Community-owned cameras are combined with video management software, drones, departmentally issued cell phones, gunshot detection systems, and license plate readers. All this information is integrated with the department's 911 dispatch software via a rules-based engine designed to ensure the real-time crime center lives in the hands of agency crime analysts and its field-based users. Fusus brings intelligence to the field by operationalizing video. Officer locations in relation to a call for service, live video to and from their mobile devices, encrypted chat channels, embedded floor plans, and suspect videos sent directly to responding officers contribute to the agency's capacity for critical incident management. Setting up Fusus is fast, requires minimal hardware, and has no activation fees. You simply plug a Fusus core into your existing camera or network, and within seconds, the video feed is analyzed, securely encrypted, and transmitted either by an ongoing live stream or on demand based on an alert. Fusus AI at the Edge technology efficiently analyzes video right at the camera, saving precious moments by delivering an automated media payload based on the call for service. And unlike other systems, video and alert sharing is completely controlled by the donor location. For example, schools may choose to limit video sharing to emergency situations, like an active shooter event, and the camera itself can be shared based on the priority of the call and associated sharing policy. In an investigation, police can automatically request footage from all nearby businesses at the click of a button. And camera owners can securely share recorded as well as live video feeds to aid in the investigation. Incident video and data is stored in the CJIS-compliant vault for investigators. And additional video evidence is easily collected via a pre-configured camera registry map of all the public and private cameras in your region, along with a multimedia tip line for the public. The Fusus Real-Time Crime Center in the Cloud is a mission-critical hub that enhances the situational awareness and investigative capabilities of law enforcement agencies, keeping officers and community members safer.
So just in general, I just want to talk about policing. While there's been a lot of advances in technology, generalized policing has maintained kind of the same tactics from the 1980s all the way up until now. This ability to ingest and add data that where you can collect data from those resources, what that's doing is that's building safety rings around problem areas. It's reducing calls for service in those problem areas. But when you do have an event, a criminal event or a missing child, missing elder, dependent adult, it allows you, rather than just doing one or two things, it allows you to zero in, grab photos and videos of that missing adult, of that suspect vehicle, and eliminate a lot of the noise. What that does is that keeps the police department from stopping the wrong car, because sometimes you get a description of a red vehicle, and it might be a maroon vehicle. Sometimes victims and witnesses during the event that they're going through, they get emotional and their information is not always accurate. Your police department will not only have the ability to grab a photo or video of that vehicle, they'll have the ability to disseminate it not just locally but to their regional partners, so that you're looking for the correct suspect or the correct vehicle. That's what we refer to as precision policing, which is what the public expects of policing. They want you to be more accurate. They want you to be better. They want you to be onto the right individuals involved, not casting a wide dragnet. However, I want to talk specifically about the neighborhood cameras, the Ring cameras, the doorbell cameras that everybody is buying from Costco, Home Depot, Amazon. Those are becoming more and more saturated in a lot of cities, but also in rural areas where they can't protect their homes. We have a system that before that detective ever leaves the office, we can click and drag a large area, and if we're looking for a burglary suspect per se with a red hoodie or a white pickup truck that's been stealing out of your industrial area, your agricultural areas, we can click and drag a wide swath of an area, and a detective can send an email message to all of those private closed loop cameras where the police department does not have live access to them, and say, can you please look for a suspect in a red hoodie or a white pickup, and if you have it, can you click and drag the video that you have on your home camera and drop it off onto this hyperlink that we've provided them. Before those detectives ever leave the office, they now have leads, they have videos, they have evidence. Big time and efficiency tool rather than driving around looking for cameras on walls, knocking on doors, going to stores where the clerk may not have access to the video. So there's a lot of efficiency built in. I know you have your city attorney here. Traffic accident investigations where they claim traffic signals were at fault. This system has the ability to kill civil claims against the county, torts, very fast, because you can generally prove or deny what's happened with access based upon what type of claim you're getting. One other note I wanted to touch on, why would somebody donate their camera access to the police department? That's a question we get quite frequently, especially if I'm a store. The black box that was shown to all of you, that store owner does not get access to the entire police department platform, but that store owner now gets access to his or her own store. They can check on their register and make sure their employee's not taking money out of the register. They can make sure deliveries. There is a personal incentive for those store owners. We've privatized community-oriented policing, and our Fusus Connect team will show up here in Brawley, work with the council, work with the mayor, work with the chief. We'll find out what your important areas are, and we will actually go get those cameras registered for you. And we will build you a custom website. It's forward-facing. It looks like it's going to come from the City of Brawley Police Department, where people can just come and register their cameras and or purchase those devices. This is a proven method that we've utilized with great success around the country, not just in big cities. Again, we're in some very rural areas, especially in the south and southeast. I will take questions, but Chief, did you have anything you wanted to add? We'll take any. I think we have a couple more slides, but bear with me. Stand-up time. We had the City of Atlanta stood up in 44 days. The City of Atlanta is obviously a big city. You don't have to rip and replace cameras. Again, we ingest everything. We're pretty fast. We're usually faster than the police department or the sheriff's office. We're usually pushing on them, and they're reminding us, hey, wait, we've got other things going. But we are fast. This is what the platform looks like. The existing bottom half of that screen where it says St. Cloud Active Calls, that'll look like what your police department's already using, so the training is fast. Half of the screen is going to be familiar to them on day one, and that screen up top, that just represents a call for service, and the 5 nearest cameras are automatically populated in and around that call for service as soon as the call is generated. That's a patent that our company has. It's very effective, and you can just imagine the officer's ability to watch that as they're driving in on their car or on their phone, or the dispatcher being able to watch, or a supervisor being able to watch what's happening. Again, it's real-time decision making. That is the black box. We are not a big drag on your IT department. That is shipped directly to the store owner. We work with the store owner to connect that, and then we let the police department know it's done. It would not be a good business model for us to go around the country telling IT departments, hi, we're here to help you, and by the way, this is all the work you have to do on our behalf. We do a lot of that. Everything we do is in the United States 24/7. We don't offshore any of our calling. You get a Fusus employee. I mentioned AI again. I'm just going to remind you: no facial analytics, no facial recognition. We do color, shape, object, vehicles, shirts, pants, bicycles, shopping carts, a lot of objects. This is an operations platform. I mentioned the panic alerts and texts. This is a good communication back and forth between the city. If your city already has analytics such as a burglary map, a map of gang members, registered sex offenders, whatever, we just overlay that onto the map so that they can click on it and operationalize it. The evidence vault that I mentioned is CJIS compliant. That's the most strict FBI regulated compliance platform. I mentioned our privatized community connect team. Again, we are very unique in what we do here. We actually hit the ground and work with your community on getting these cameras registered and up and running. We explain to them that they own permissions. They have the rights to provide the police department access or restrict that, and they do an excellent job of getting those cameras registered. This is the closed loop ring and doorbell registrations overlay, tips that I mentioned. Emergency notification. This could be as much as traffic accident, stay away, parade, stay away, fire, flood, hazmat, spill. We provide this all free of service. This is opt-in. And those are just some social media bits of information. I will take any questions you guys may have.
Well, thank you for your presentation. Any questions from council? There's a lot to digest there. We appreciate it.
So it's with the Fuchsias, are we paying for, I guess, the program, the cloud, cameras, 24/7, sir, or all of that?
Yeah, so it's largely software-based. You get some hardware with it, but it's largely a cloud-based software program, and we seed you some hardware to utilize on city assets, or you could seed the community. It depends on how the chief works with the council. We've had certain cities that have said, we have more assets than we need for our city cameras, so we're going to seed the community. There's not a traffic camera at this intersection, but there's a gas station there that's vitally important to us. Or there's an apartment complex that's having so many calls for service, or it's a danger to the community, or we have a really important business or a school. It leaves you a lot of flexibility on where to allocate your assets and how to use them best. Normally those assets, those camera assets that you're grabbing, are on major thoroughfares or problem areas because we want you to solve crimes and get some wins. What I mean by wins, we want you to see the effectiveness of the system rather quickly.
Yeah. All right, Chief. Question. So how do you see this? How do you envision this? I found out just a dispatch center. I see something similar. You got the cameras. I think I was surprised. So how do you envision this in phases, or eventually? Or how would you?
Well, first of all, I'm pretty impressed with the system. We've been shopping around for like a year, like I said, find the right platform. Number one, to use existing infrastructure. That was the biggest thing. We can't afford to replace infrastructure. Now, how I see this being implemented is immediately, as soon as you saw their timeline is rather quickly. Now, like most of the projects, it's always the funding the issue, right? So, like I said, we've been getting ready for this. So what I did, I took the liberty, although it had not been presented to the council, to write a grant. It's called the BJA Smart Policing Initiative Grant. I actually wrote this grant in partnership with the San Diego State University as our research partner, because we want to be pretty open. We want to put this technology to work, but what better way to allow the San Diego State University monitor what we're doing so they can do a report on the findings and how this is working, to be completely transparent with the public. That's what we're hoping here. Now, the grant that I wrote is for $600,000, which will definitely cover this and more, because there's other technology that we're looking at for, such as rapid DNA and other things that we want, to go along with this type of technology. Because we know we can't have more officers now, but I think there's ways of getting more technology now to enhance the officers that we have. And again, I think their timelines are very generous. They move pretty quick. And let's face it, compared to the cities they've done, we're not that big. So I think it can be done. And we're already talking again to our community, to our business owners, and I think we're getting buy-in as we move. But again, we wanted to present it to you first to see if this is something you would like to see in the future. And I would say in the near future, because this grant that we wrote, we should hear from if we got the award or not by the first week of October or even before. So, but then again, if you choose to move forward, then we'll proceed. And if not, and of course, we wanted to present it to the community too. So I'm glad that we have a lot of members of the community so they can see what we're doing.
Yeah, Chief, it's very impressive, and I would say that that we should look at the numbers regardless of whether you get the grant or not. I just think that the way it's going to help the police department and help us, obviously we saw a lot of crimes. And remember, the biggest complaint that we get here is like sometimes crimes do not get solved. And just watching what's up there, I mean, I was very impressive. My only question is when it comes to access to private cameras, it's just obviously you wouldn't have the same access as you do with public cameras, right?
No. The owner allows you to what access you have. So let's take an example. Let's say 7-Eleven jumped on this. They would actually give us access to view it full time, or only when there's an emergency, only when there's 911. They would only maybe give us access to the exterior or whatever. So the person who owns the cameras has full control. I mean, whatever they decide that we need to see. When I was talking to the bank manager, he's like, "Oh no, you can have access to all my stuff." That was just, because the nature of the bank, right? So everybody will decide at that point, and that's the beauty of this program. We're not imposing. Everybody decides how they want to help, and definitely that's what we need. We need help from the community.
When it comes to, for example, I have one on my driveway. You'd be able to have access to that.
I'll let him explain that.
Or that would be where we actually just click and send videos over to the detective.
Chief, I'm not going to give you access to my hidden folder, all right?
Yes, if you have a closed loop camera, such as a Ring type doorbell camera, the police department would never have live access to your camera, but they would have your email address, your phone, if you registered it.
And we'd be able to work with them.
And then we would send you notifications, and this is the great back and forth between the police and the community. It lets them know there is a burglar operating in your area or a catalytic converter theft or something. And it allows the citizen to look at their own and see, and perhaps partner with the police department in helping resolve these ongoing quality of life crimes. And the one video that I just didn't show in the interest of time today, talk about efficiency. A dementia patient was missing, an elderly lady, and the perimeter set up to search for that dementia patient was tight. The patient got on a bus, left that perimeter, which would have caused that search to go on in futility.
Right.
However, she was picked up on a camera getting on that bus. They were able to get ahead of that bus. When it stopped, they showed her picture, got her back to her family, which is great unto itself. But from a law enforcement management standpoint, when you have those types of cases that are solved quickly, that is a huge cost savings to the city, because you're not asking for mutual aid, you're not searching around the clock, you're not calling search and rescue. So there's a lot of efficiency built in, being able to watch what happens and being able to determine real time how to address that.
Let me ask a question with respect to the public's input in the areas where you serve, right? What's been the pushback from the public? What are some of the concerns?
Yeah, I think the biggest concern is the questions you've already asked. Do they have the access to go into my camera and look at my personal cameras?
Right.
The other question that gets asked is, do we do facial recognition? We purposely built guardrails into our platform to prevent abuse. You cannot touch that system without it being tracked. We have policies that we provide the police department in advance, so they can establish agreements not only with the private camera owners but other law enforcement agencies. And it allows like the chief said, the camera owner to actually restrict. It's a simple button to turn it off and on to restrict what you do, even on a given day. And the quick example, the Minnesota Vikings are a customer of ours, and they're also is the Minneapolis Police Department. They give Minneapolis Police Department full access to all their cameras on game day. When it's not game day, the police department only gets access to the outside. You can scale it to the type of crime, the type of call for service. That brings about a level of comfort. And then again, too, the ability to just say, okay, I'm only going to give you external cameras or forward-facing cameras. It helps cities, too, that don't have a lot of camera assets, because you can get the 7-Elevens, the gas stations that are on the corners, whatever assets, private assets happen to be.
It's augmenting what you have, right?
Yeah. There's a website that we put together for the city of Atlanta. It's called Connect Atlanta, and I would encourage you just to take a quick look at it. It shows the numbers of cameras that have been registered as closed-loop cameras, your building cameras, and there's a massive number there, around 15,000. There is another fully integrated camera number that's around 16,000 or 15,000 on the other side. That is $22 million worth of camera equipment. The city of Atlanta did not have to pay for it. They have full access.
Very nice.
And I would love to see a number. It's going to be much smaller than that in Brawley, but I would love to come back in a year or two and be able to say this is the amount of camera assets that are being provided to the city of Brawley.
Yeah, because you can imagine, like any business, whether that's a Walmart or my business or whoever, I mean, you have camera access, and it's covering different areas of the community. So yeah, it augments a lot of what you can see. So
yeah, I have a camera in my backyard, Chief. I don't want to see you. I don't want you to be peeking in while I'm out there swimming.
He already has
my
it.
bathing suit. You know,
I see it already.
it's probably not a very pleasant view. So
Yeah, and again, one of the things that I don't know if you missed that
actually
part.
might be a crime. You know?
Yeah.
It talked about
arrested
having
for showing my body.
AI weapons recognition, and I think this is awesome for the schools, for our vulnerable areas like places where a lot of people gather, our shopping centers. I think that's awesome, because it definitely would give us the flags that we need ahead of time. Hopefully, respond faster. And again, it will definitely help us on some of these investigations. Like, as you know, we had a tragic situation a few weeks ago, a double homicide. And having to go house by house to find out who has cameras, it's a very painstaking process that we do now, because that's what we have to do. We know people have cameras, but if we had a system like this, it would have been done way faster. Thank God we were able to solve that case, and we moved quickly, but I think this would have definitely aided.
So that's actually what came to mind as he was speaking about, access to these videos and whatnot. Exactly that situation there. So
It's almost like an enhanced neighbors kind of the app that we got, kind of.
Yeah. It kind of everything we're doing is just adding on to it. So what we're doing is adding on to this. This will definitely add on to that.
So this be manned in the dispatch?
Well, the way it works, let's say we had cameras here. We were participants of this program, and we had indoor cams and outside cams. If somebody dials 911 here, all these, and they're part of the program, all the cameras will turn on, and now it goes and it takes priority in our dispatch consoles. You've been to our dispatch. We have bigger screens up top already, so we would just put those to use. And now we know what's happening. Now we have live footage. Let's say we have an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven. I hate to keep using 7-Eleven, but it's just no pun intended for 7-Eleven. So I apologize to 7-Eleven owners ahead of time. But I think that's what they could do. Something like that happens. They dial 911. Now we have the cameras not only in that building on, but let's say there's another business next door. Since it's in the general area there where they dial 911, that will turn on too.
You can focus in that specific area. Yes. I think you should look at those numbers regardless. Tyler's been here. But just the way I think the efficiency and what it provides, what it provides to you guys, and the ability to do your job. So
we're pretty confident on that, Grant. I'm really hoping. I'm praying to God we get it, because I think this is going to be something great for our city.
Chief, I know this is a study session, probably go on for quite a while. I think we'll have more questions as we go, but the only one I want to throw at you is there were so many more features. I think that were shared up there in those quadrants. And I know we're focused right now just on the camera, the media data feed and all that, but just with the CAD interface in dispatch, however that works, that core that's pulling in all this data, right? When it was mentioned that it's sent back out to for situational awareness for our officers or for whomever or for yourself, for kind of more command control, and as well as knowing what's going on when you're going to a call when these cameras turn on. How is that sent through the CAD system? Is it a real time? Is it a feed? Is it live? Is it delayed? Is it just a video file? How does that work?
It's live, but it is a replicated database, so we're not penetrating your firewalls or bogging down your normal bandwidth. And it is live. It's on the edge. It's purposeful, and that's one of our patents. It's called Dispatch Direct Payload, and it's one of our company's patents. And I have to be careful with intellectual property and secrets, but when the call is generated and it's typed in, it's geolocating and activating those cameras. And the chief mentioned that the dispatch center can see it. Should the chief choose to do so, the officers responding can watch it on their patrol car. Somebody walking on foot through a school resource officer can watch it on their cell
Is that
phone.
like on an MDT screen or just on cell phone or front? Okay.
Any web-based helicopter feed overhead on a search and rescue mission. You mentioned other stuff, sir. I could take up your entire.
I just have one more question. Have you guys done like an economic study on this to show if there is like any cost savings benefits to this?
We did the Atlanta camera study. I'll have to ask if we've done anything else more so on the efficiency side of things. We never really intended for this to be used as a traffic tool. I'm being told by several law enforcement agencies that investigate traffic accidents now that rather than doing accident reconstruction, they're merely taking names, gathering the evidence, and booking it in. And it's a much quicker investigation than it ever was. The claims that I mentioned with the city attorney's office, I'm sure there's an efficiency there when you don't have to hire outside counsel to defend it, when you can get rid of it quickly on the edge. But I'm not aware of anything beyond that, sir.
That'd be nice if you guys could put something like that together for us, or just in general, right? See how much the city is actually saving, whether it helps in it. And it helps us too, obviously, when we're paying for something like that, make it easier to decide and sign up.
Well, we thank you for your time and your presentation. Informative, a lot of good information, and I'll tell you, it was a good presentation. Very good. I appreciate the video. Thank you very much. All right. Next, we're going to move on to City Council member reports. We're going to start with Council Member Luke Canby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Really quickly, a few weeks ago, I got to go to an open house at the San Diego Regional Center at their new location between Imperial and El Centro, where University of Phoenix used to be. They have a really nice facility there, much bigger than I knew. They do a lot of good work throughout the valley. Attended a library board meeting this past week, and a lot of good things happening at the library and are being publicized, so that's good. And honored to attend the mayor's breakfast and State of the City address this past week, and the mayor did a good job putting that presentation together and delivering it, and only slightly embarrassed by the childhood photos that he
It was a wonderful
posted
photo.
of
Great
each of
photos,
us.
man.
That's it for my report.
I appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to Councilmember Brawley.
Yes, like I'm sure everyone will say, we attended the mayor's breakfast. It was really great. You did really great speech, great presentation. The jokes at Luke's expense were fantastic, and you did good. It was really good. And
appreciate it.
Did I do good? Did I do good? You knew you did good, man. It's like
Hey,
your 10 to 1. It's like your 10 to 1.
I am always like, I have high expectations of myself, you know, and it's
you reached in above.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Going back to, boxing does bring people together. 2 weeks ago I was carless, so I didn't have a car, so I was walking around and took the bus. But after the softball tournament, which they cleaned, I know we talk about events and waving. This is a community event that they cleaned. They took up after cleaned up after themselves and used our park and left it clean. But so at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna walk home. I'll walk home on a Friday night in Brawley just to see what the town's like. And so I'm walking home and I see a little gathering in a backyard on G Street. And I go, what's going on here? What's going on here? So I crashed it. And,
you crashed the party?
Sure enough, it was Mayor Nava's party. And I was like, oh, hey.
You had a party. We weren't invited, by the way.
But you know what, Mayor? I got to say, G Street, going to Sala, Friday night, boxing, backyard, family. There's nothing more Brawley than that.
I appreciate this. Thank you.
Like, for real. Who says we don't get along?
No, I've never said that. We do.
I think I say that.
I'm a little jealous now.
So another thing, going back, also, Mayor, I attended the SCAG conference. So last week, 2 weeks ago, the SCAG conference, Southern California Association of Governments, a bunch of officials from LA to Imperial County get together. The mayor was there as well. I did meet with the executive director, Kome Ejise, and he asked, like, what do you want from SCAG? And representation, not for the Imperial Valley being after. I think everything we all express have those same sentiments. And so, opportunities for funding, opportunities to improve our roads, to improve our transportation, to get community engagement. I think even utilizing SCAG, we all talk about Lithium Valley and, and I think utilizing SCAG for regional development to, when you look at the ports of LA, to the highway system, to our border, to just how things come and go from our valley, I think it has an opportunity to build upon that to really get some funding and just help better our region, and met a lot of officials, and I extended probably dozens of invites to this year's rodeo, Mayor of Calabasas, Mayor of Long Beach, so hopefully we can get some people from across our region to come to this rodeo this year. Also, this week is National Police Week, and I did a ride-along on Friday night with our PD from 10 o'clock to about 2 in the morning, and there's Brawley's, I think I may have been under the assumption, when I go to sleep, the city goes to sleep, but no, it's Brawley is active. There's whereas during the day, there's a lot of vehicle traffic and no foot traffic. At night, there's no vehicle traffic, but a lot of foot traffic. And for bikes, but I mean, that night there was biker gangs, home visits, confiscation of drugs, and it was really enlightening to see, what our PD goes through. And I think even tying into this presentation, how one incident can really just back up everything. And if there's, multiple things going on, who's to say what could happen? And so it was really great to see that. And then I kept the momentum going. And yesterday I got one of these. In front of Stockman. So I wanted to get the whole spectrum of the police experience. But
you got a ticket?
A ticket. Someone's like, "Did you say who you? Did you know who I am?" I'm like, no, I'm you, and you are me, and I'm just a regular guy. But no, really, the understanding and patience from like Friday night to yesterday from our police force, I think speaks to our leadership, speaks to our administration, and speaks to this council. So, but another thing I think too is, with our PD, trying to tell their story, and that's utilizing social media. I know they've been brought up. You look at Imperial County Sheriff's has a social media page here, the Imperial Police Department, Central Police Department. It's a tool to not just tell the story, but also inform the community. Like I said, recently we had that double homicide, and I'm sure you were getting calls of what's going on and just this chain. And so, I don't know if it's policy. I don't know how it goes about. I did get the Central PD policy for social media and the Imperial PD policy for Department of Use of Social Media. And then I pulled up ours. I'm not sure the chain of how that goes about, and I guess implementing it, whether it's through the chief, through city manager, or city attorney, or us. But I'd like to see at least come next meeting, something tangible that we can review, and at least give the opportunity for our police department, if they were so to choose, to get a social media page. There is an unofficial Brawley Police Department social media page right now, so I think there's almost urgency to get an official one, just because it's unofficial. Who's to say what kind of confusion that may cause? So I'd like to see agendize like a listening session with some tangible backup. I can provide. I'll leave these here for you, but they're all available online to view. Also, I do want to congratulate the Brawley Elementary School District for the naming of the new school, the Padilla Pace Middle School. I won't get into the history behind the names. You can check, Desert Review for that. But I will say a majority of the feedback has been celebratory, congratulatory for simply getting a new school, and for also recognizing the local history of Brawley and 2 military veterans. There were some comments and feedback that I got that I don't know if they were much concerning, but enlightening. And I'll read them. I'll read them right now. And these are quotes. These are stemming from my public sharing of it. And this is, I see this as a reflection of against the school of 2 veterans, and the whole this process was a year long. Community input. Communication is a 2-way street. I know when you had the recent cell phone tower, right? You put things out, and if someone didn't see it, but you did your diligence. And I can say this naming of the school was a year-long, I think almost over a year-long process. It started when I was on the school board. I'm on the city council. It's my 6th month. So, to see some of this feedback of, the community really almost seeming lashing out was interesting. And here's a quote. The BESD took the coward's way out, cheapens the legacy of 2 very worthy men in our community. They should be ashamed. Ugly name. They know it will be shortened eventually to Padilla, and they want a Hispanic name. Same political Brawley garbage. What's the mascot going to be? A chicken. Sounds like the participation trophies that sicken me. If it was me, I would say take my son's name off that school if you can't honor him correctly. Took the easy way out by using both names. Should just be Scott Pace Middle School. The school board is so scared they don't want to offend anyone. What a load of you-know-what. I just say that because this is a school that's named after 2 men who served our country, and served our community. Here is a board attempting to unify. So sometimes I think I see our community, and maybe I was naive or maybe a little too optimistic about how far we've come, and I see things like that, and I kind of question how. But nevertheless, I think it's a celebratory thing of 2 men being honored and recognized, and speaks to also how we can come together and how much more we need to go, and also doing our part to communicate. And so, if there's any concern, we're going to have some discussions coming up about trash rates, about utility taxes. I'm sure there's going to be some people say, "Oh, why didn't we know?" You know where to find us. We're here. We're here twice a month. We're in the community, and so we're going to put it out there. We're going to be transparent. And we need to hear you. We can't know a problem if you don't tell us. And so we'll address them, but I just want to really say that because that's being said. I know some may be upset because I repeated words that they said, but I'm just holding up the mirror. And listen, I just want to congratulate BESD and congratulate the city of Brawley. We're getting a new school. What does that mean for our community? If we want to bring homes, those homes probably have kids. They'll have kids who need to go to school. We talk about the issues with our children. We got a junior high that's really impacted and crowded right now. You got a bunch of kids coming together. We need to alleviate that pressure and put them in different schools. And like I said, they recognize 2 individuals. And it's a school on the east side of Brawley, a new one, and it's a really great thing. And so I guess I'm a little hurt, just not hurt, but just taken aback by some of that pushback I saw from something that should have been 100% celebratory.
It happens.
It happens. Oh, yeah. And so I just want to get that out there and congratulate the Brawley Metro School District Board, the administration, and looking forward to having both families and all the community of Brawley coming together when that ribbon's cut to open that school. And like I said, cutting that ribbon. So, thank you.
Thank you. And, in my experience over time on the city council, there have been moments where I feel like, we're working on something that is very positive, and then there's, in my opinion, I'm not referring to that comment, but there's been, in my opinion, like racism disguised as outrage. You know what I mean? And it's like, whatever.
Well, that was racism right there in that comment.
But whatever.
Full of it.
It's like, you just got to roll with the punches.
Oh, yeah.
I had never experienced racism, and I'll say this publicly. I had never experienced racism until I decided to run for city council. And the moment I did, I spoke to somebody that I knew for a long time, and it was like, oh, you're deciding to do that. It's like, and it all of a sudden it turned like, you can be cool with me, but until you decide to come up here, then it's a little bit different. I was like, all right, cool. So you just got to let it slide off your shoulder, brother. No, I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you. All right, next is Councilmember Donnie Ward.
Thank you,
Half Japanese, I should
Mr.
add,
Marin,
right?
as everyone saw, right?
Right.
Referring back to the
Right.
state of the city, so I will start with that and just echo once again, Mr. Mayor did a tremendous job, I think, delivering our message, our collective message. And of course, it's always done with our mayor's flair, and that flair started right off with a very short notice request for those of you that did not attend or see school pictures from most of us, ages I think between 5 or 6, something like that.
Yeah,
so, and unfortunately, with a shorter period of time, that's all I came up with. But
Yeah, it was a
apparently
good one, though. I
worked,
loved
you know,
it. That was
a
my
good one.
favorite,
That hairstyle is coming back.
Yeah.
So,
and the hair color, I was kind of amazed with it too.
I wish I had it. You know what I mean? I don't have any, so fortunate.
But with that, I thought, again, very powerful. I think it helps to frame, even though we're well into the year, the calendar year, it certainly for me personally was invigorating to continue the work that we're doing. And it is fun to stop and reflect even for an hour as a community on where we've come and what we've accomplished. So I think maybe to some extent, Councilmember Revelar's comments and Mr. Mayor, your comments, it's tough to be on council and it's tough to be an elected official when you understand it. You have to take the good with the bad, right? And I hope everyone understands these are not, by any stretch of the imagination, monetary positions. Some will say cynically something different maybe, but if there's compensation involved in this, I've missed it, at least in 11 years. So we're here, I truly believe, and I don't care if I've had opposing opinions with past council members, we're all here for the right reasons. And otherwise, believe me, it wouldn't be worth sitting here for some of the stuff you have to deal with personally. But so again, respecting what you're saying, Councilmember Revelar, let me move on to this, the noise ordinance. I want to make a little comment, excuse me, not noise ordinance, but the noise topic downtown. I've reported out a few times in my council report on some of the steps that I've kind of stepped in to see if I can help the situation. And I want to be clear, this is not by way of council action per se. It's just simply doing the right thing and making sure I communicate that to fellow council members so that once again, if they're, the more the merrier. And I know our Mayor Pro Tem has really been working the issue from his end with the business owner, which he has more of a relationship with that I don't. And I stepped up, I don't know how many weeks back, but Carol, to your reports, your public reports, it was several visits ago that I initiated this with the management and the ownership of Sweet Dad Plaza. I figure I'd start there, maybe the best representative of the residents there. So I just want to make clear on some of the steps I've taken. A lot of communication has actually taken place, and that communication's around what are the solutions that we can implement now, what are they willing to do, there's kind of the give and take, and I just want to be clear to the public, we are doing that, and maybe even some of the things that even happened today, that's fine. If someone want to get cynical or have the terrorist approach, that's fine, and attempt to send, continue to send kind of, adverse or negative messages to the council. This council wants, like everything, to solve a problem with multiple interests. And I do want to make it clear, we echo this every time, there are multiple interests downtown. This is not a one-size-fits-all that blankets all 27,000 residents in the city. Believe me, if there was a citywide noise issue, there'd be a whole lot more people in here and we'd get a whole lot more communication. We need to step forward and take care of everybody. I don't care if it's one citizen, one group, and I want to make that clear is that that is what we're attempting to solve. So I just hope that, I know it's been quite a bit of patience on a lot of folks' part, but I see a willingness on the side of the owners. A couple of the ideas we're already thinking of is targeting Wednesday, the midweek. It's 3 nights a week, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Let's start with Wednesday. Then we can move and maybe talk, if we can find some effectiveness there or mitigation there, we can move to Friday and Saturday, potentially look at that. But some of this does involve investment on the side of the business owner to further dampen and mitigate sound. And those options are already on the table and being discussed. Some of the ideas even include leveraging our arts district that we do also have downtown and looking at even a potential community effort where we could do everything we can to kind of mitigate, right? Not eliminate. That business is and I hope I'm speaking on behalf of council, there to stay. We don't want that business to go away. That's been echoed by all the users as well as the interest groups. So the idea here is how can we together come up with a reasonable give and take that'll make this work? And I'm going to tell you something. Every good negotiation I've ever been a part of, not everyone's happy. As a matter of fact, most walk away, they're not perfectly happy, but it's better. And that's what we're endeavoring to do. So I'll stop there. I'm not going to drive further, but I want to come forward with hopefully some change that we can implement and make a difference between now and the next meeting. I'll come forward and report accordingly. from there and see if we can solve this problem. Looking forward, Mr. Mayor, lastly, to the opening, and I know you're going to talk about that, so I want to put the shout out. I was able to visit 2 times, actually, on the premises, and I have seen multiple before and after type photos in the past, but I urge the public, just as we do all our businesses, support local alpha employment testing. Mr. Mayor, you've done an extremely impressive job, and the only thing I want to say here while we're on public record, because I know after this it'll be after the fact, of Thursday's event, for any member of the public, alpha employment testing has to do with almost all employment in places of business. To have that sort of improved asset downtown is just one more feather in our cap as a community. So congratulations, Mr. Mayor, ahead of time.
Thank you very much.
I
appreciate it. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Guthrie.
Yes, sir. I'll try to be quick. So also, we were involved in conversations, with the Ciudad Plaza, with the owners of 805. We've been going back and forth. And today, again, as Councilmember Warren said, we don't do this for the money, that's for sure. So I think I was at work and obviously taking a risk and taking in a call, and, we're in the middle of, I'm building stuff. And we took the call, and I said, if you give me a second, I'm going to mute you because it's really loud in the background. Signal dropped. Luckily, they were able to pick up on their own. I dropped out of that 3-way call. But we've been going back and forth for a while, and you know that your issues matter to us. Unfortunately, we don't have a magic wand where we can, just wave it and then everything gets solved overnight. That business exists by right. They have a right to exist, and we do not have the power or the authority to just shut them down. Any process to change what they are doing now would be very long, require studies, it require an ordinance review, going back and forth, right? So I think what Councilmember Warren is doing is it's commendable. He's taking time out of his busy schedule to try to mitigate this, try to make it as best as possible for both parties. And so, thank you for that. Appreciate that. And that's leadership in action right there. That's what that looks like. So much appreciated, sir. I also attended the mayor's breakfast. Now everyone in the city knows why I don't wear a tie most of the time. So my wife was a little embarrassed. She was like, I didn't know that's why you don't wear a tie. So as we get older, we put on weight, right? And our necks, they start to shrink. And so I'd rather not wear a tie. I'm much more comfortable without one. And so the mayor did point out the picture he put up. I was wearing a tie. I was 5 years old. And I don't wear one now unless I absolutely have to. So thank you. Yeah, so it was my uncle's wedding back in 1984, I believe. We also met with the Elks and with Rachel, where she's been very, 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 very busy. I don't know if you pay her enough, Tyler. So we met with her. She's obviously planning a Memorial Day celebration at the cemetery in conjunction with the Elks and the annual Veterans Day walk. So that's going to be, look out for the flyer, and then also Flag Day. That's going to be an Elks event, obviously, with the city's help. So again, look on the lookout for the flyers. I had a lot to say, but I'm going to keep it short. Next meeting, I just want to wish a happy birthday to my oldest child. She turns 25 today. I remember when she was born, I was 19. I was in the Marine Corps. I didn't meet her till she was 10 days old, and I remember, what it was like, what life was like. Nothing hurt. My knees were perfect. I could still get up and run 10 miles, and I was running an 18.5-minute 3-mile when I was doing my physical fitness test. I can tell you right now that I cannot run a quarter of a mile without stopping. So times have changed. So she's 25 today. She's in South Carolina. Her husband is now in the Air Force. And so they're out there. She's out there with their child, my grandson. And so if she's watching this, happy birthday, baby. I love you.
What's your daughter's name?
My daughter's name is Marisol.
Happy birthday, Marisol.
Marisol Rodriguez now, I guess.
All right.
It's Castro, always in
That's
my
right.
heart. So she's out there in South Carolina. And so happy birthday, baby. Love you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Well, happy birthday to your dad.
Thank you.
From Brawley, California. All right. So, thank you all very much for being out here. I know your patience is It's long and hard. I appreciate it very much. Real quick, Mayor's Breakfast. I do want to thank city staff for providing information for the Mayor's Breakfast, as well as Councilmember Gil Revelar provided some photos that we used. And good information. I hope the public was able to capture that information. Also want to thank the press because they were there and they were able to get the message out a little further. And I do really want to thank staff. They put in the effort and the information. I was able to share it and it was featured, and I appreciate it very, very much. I also want to recognize Oscar and his staff. Thank you, Oscar, for helping me through this process. As many of you know, I have been rehabilitating a building here in downtown Brawley. Did
they give you any breaks?
No breaks, but I tell you what, they're very helpful. And
Yes.
so
Yeah, they are.
very helpful. And this isn't the first time I've done this. I've done it many, many times, but this is the most meaningful time for me. And I appreciate Oscar and your staff's help. Luciano's been fantastic to work with, and I want to state that publicly. And I'm just very proud of that improvement. It's a very nice improvement. It's between Ciudad Plaza and what used to be Elms Equipment. Now it's Sunbelt Equipment. And so it's a property that's it wasn't vacant, but it just was neglected for many, 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 many years. It was a tire shop. It was a service station maybe 4 years ago, tire shop, and now, it's cleaned up considerably. It's taken 5.5, almost 6 months of my life and long, long hours. I mean, I'm very hands-on. I do a lot of work there, and I got some help from Mayor Pro Tem Castro and some help from Councilmember Hamby. But it's just been a big commitment in my life, and I appreciate people's support and their interest in it. And so I'll have a big community celebration tomorrow. So my apologies in advance. We'll make a little bit of noise tomorrow, but it won't be ongoing. It's just a celebration. It starts at 6. But
Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Thursday. And so hope to have the public come out and enjoy it with us. And it's a nice improvement. So look forward to doing that. Also attended the Southern California Association of Governments General Assembly, and that took place just the other day. And so I represented the city on the city's behalf. I represented, and so do appreciate everybody. I'll keep my comments to that, but thank you all very much for your time and your patience and your energy. As Councilmember Wharton has stated, our interest is to try and help as many people as we can. I know that sometimes it seems like the process is delayed, but it's just, unfortunately, it's government. I come from the private sector where we can make things happen quickly, and government's just not like that. It's a longer process. It just is. It's been a frustrating experience for me since I started 16 years ago. It's just different, but it will get resolved. I can tell you that. And so, thank you everybody for your patience. I appreciate you all. We'll move on. All right. So, city attorney report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, with your permission, I'll just give you the report I would give in closed session because it's out in the public.
Go for it.
The time to appeal the court's decision on the summary judgment motion has come and gone, no appeal. So the cell tower is not coming to Eastfield. The plaintiffs have made a motion to dismiss the rest of it. Our attorneys are not necessarily opposing it, but going to ask the court to impose some conditions on that. And we'll find out how they do.
Fantastic.
But it's a win.
It's a win for the city. And so that's been a challenging process. It's been hundreds of thousands of dollars to defend ourselves. And it's just one of those things that happens within city government. So having said that, we'll close up shop. And thank you all very much for your patience. The meeting's adjourned.